What's going on, everyone? It's Tay, aka Slay, and we gonna get a little personal today. I know I've been away for a minute, life was getting kind of heavy, so I needed to take a break, but I'm back here to provide content for you, to connect with you, to do all the things a good YouTuber should do, like stay in the damn house. Anyway, I was going to do a completely different video today, but had I done that, it would have come from a place of anger, and I don't want that to be my first video back. So what I decided to do is give you guys, especially those of you who are new, because I know a large portion of you guys have come over on Smokey Glow's suggestion. Oh my goodness, I cannot tell y'all how much I stan Hannah, aka Smokey Glow. I am probably 13 or 14 years older than her, and the fact that she gives me so much love and so much support baffles me, but humbles me and makes me feel blessed every single day. So Hannah, thank you. If you don't know about Smokey Glow, what are you doing with your life? But I'm sure most of you do. So thank you again, Hannah, and thank you again for taking a chance on me and subscribing. I am so sorry that it's taken me so long to get this video up, but like I said, life was getting to be too much and I needed to step away. So here we are. So for you who are new, and for those of you who may have been following me for some time, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of knowledge about your girl. So I sat down and wrote out 25 random facts about Tay. All of these are 100% fact. This video might be a long one, so go ahead, get you a snack, get you a drink, and let's get down to business. Number one, I have performed on Broadway. 2 years ago, it was the summer before I moved out here to California, I was in a production of the musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer called Once More with Feeling. Hi, honey. Now, I was part of a group out in New York City called GGNY, which stands for the Gay Geeks of New York. I am not gay, I am a straight ally, but I loved these people, they were my family, and every year, as a fundraiser for the Trevor Project, they would put on this show. And this was the third year I was a part of it, and this year was special because they created a character just for me, and I got to sing live, like full voice, mic'd up, everything, and we were actually in a Broadway theater. In former years, we had done it at a bar that had a performance space, but we had grown much too much for that space. The producer of the show, who had him some connections, got us booked inside an actual Broadway theater. And the funny thing was, my character didn't show up until Act 2, so I was upstairs the entire first act and just sitting in the room that we were all in, where we had gotten into costume and did our hair, did our makeup, and I was just so overwhelmed with joy and gratitude, because that's what I wanted. That's why I moved to New York, was to be able to perform on a Broadway stage, and I got to do it the year before I moved, and I will always be grateful for that. So to all of my GGNY homies, I love you guys, I miss you. Number two, in first grade, I was reading at a second grade reading level. According to my mother, may she rest in peace, I was reading at age 3. And it used to infuriate her because she would take me to like Toys R Us or KB Toys, and if she tried to buy me a toy that wasn't the exact toy that I wanted, I would point it out. I'm gonna use the scene from Addams Family Values. It's like, no, this is Ballerina Barbie. I wanted Malibu Barbie. See, it says Malibu. I don't remember doing that, but my mother said that I used to do that all the time. So when I was being placed in school, they determined my reading level. So every day at this particular time, a kid from the second grade would come and get me so that I could go to their, reading and spelling period, because your girl was just too advanced. Oh, and I felt so special because I was the only person in class that did that. And it kind of makes me wonder now what happened, because I don't feel as smart as I used to. Moving on. Number 3, and this might shock some of you. I don't know if we might have mentioned this on a live, but for those of you who are new, you may have seen, if you've looked through my older videos, you may have seen my best friend AJ, who is in most of my live streams. He is actually my first boyfriend. He is the first boyfriend I ever had. He didn't really know what his orientation was at the time. This was before, as we playfully call it, before the switch was flipped. He did genuinely care for me, as he cares for me now, but he didn't really understand what was going on with him. He says he knew he cared for me and he knew he loved me, but he didn't feel that he was really ready for a relationship. This was freshman year of high school. And we split. Got back together, I think sophomore year, and then split again because same thing. He just really, his head wasn't really in the game. And then later on, he realized that he was gay and went through that whole journey. That's not my story to tell. Maybe he'll tell it when he has when he starts his own YouTube channel, which is coming soon, and I will promote on this channel here. But that AJ is actually the bar to which I hold all men. That might be not fair because, you know, he is a 1 in a million person, or million to one person. And he is so special to me. Obviously, like, we have lived together for a year and have not destroyed each other. We've actually grown closer in the year that we have lived under the same roof. And I am so blessed to have him in my life. I do not think I could have gotten through the 12 years that I lived in New York without him. And I'm so, so happy to have him out here in New York, in California with me. Number 4, I did not start wearing a full face of makeup until I was 35. That might shock some people. I've actually been looking back at my Facebook memories and I'm like, I really thought I was cute with those horrible brows. That was before your girl discovered what eyebrow pencil was. I didn't know what concealer was. Like, the first brand I ever dipped my toes into was ColourPop. And at the time, ColourPop really only had their matte liquid lipsticks. Loved those. And that's what I bought. It was like their matte liquid lipsticks and their super shock shadows. No, what lip liner? We don't know her. Like, blush, what is she? We didn't know any of that until, and I said it in my Jackie Aina video, I started watching her videos and that jumped up an interest in makeup. And that was in 2017 or 2016. And I started experimenting and now we have this face. And I love everything about makeup. I will probably wear makeup into the next life. Actually beautifully segues into number 5. I started this channel as a beauty channel right after the first Dramageddon. It tends to happen after every one of these Dramageddons. It's like, okay, well, the old guard has moved out. Who should be our new supreme? And I was like, you know what? Maybe now it's time. You know, I've been doing well with my makeup. Friends and family have asked me to give them tips and tricks. So why don't I go ahead and start a beauty channel? But as you all have seen, I've branched out to more just being me on this channel. I'm still going to do makeup content because people have requested it. I'm still going to talk about certain products that I love. I'm still going to do get ready with me's. I'm still going to give tutorials because people have asked for those. But there's so much more to me than makeup, and I really want to share that. And I don't want to create 5 or 6 separate channels to give you guys all of me. So I hope you guys stick around for all of the content. But if you only watch the makeup content, I'm glad you're here for that too. Number 6. I learned to dance by watching Michael and Janet Jackson music videos on MTV. When I was 6, there was, I think I was either 6 or 7 when Michael's 3rd album, Bad, was released. And I was obsessed. I still love Michael Jackson till this day, and I will not accept Michael Jackson slander on any of my platforms. He is the greatest performer that ever lived, in my humble opinion. There was a video when his album was released that my brother watched like it was a TV show. It was like a retrospective of his career, and at the end, it was I think it was the video that he recorded from MTV the day the music video for Bad premiered. And I watched that whole 18-minute mini movie, and I was walking around the house like, you're telling me you're doing wrong? I loved it. And I just started watching those videos and teaching myself the choreography. Oh, I've never had stage fright. I've always dreamed of being a performer. Michael and Janet are the reasons why. I've performed on many a stage. A lot of time I was in drama club in middle and high school. I was in the color garden, my marching band in my high school. I was in show choir. I've always been in choir. And I've never been one to be shy. You know, you give me a mic, I'll give you a performance. I go to karaoke, well, when outside was safe, we were going to karaoke, especially when I lived in New York. Oh, karaoke was a weekly occurrence, and I will give you a performance. I don't just stand there with the mic and look at the screen. I'm giving you a show. I'm giving you all of this. I'm doing moves. If it's a song where I know the choreography, I might break it down. I belong on somebody's stage, and when I'm on stage, that is my moment, and I'm going to give you a performance. So I've had that nervous energy where like, oh my God, I hope it's a good show. But I've never gotten up there and been like, you know, frozen on stage, like the type of person that needs to picture everybody naked before they give a presentation. It's never been a part of me. And I really hope I get to use that to my advantage someday. Please, somebody put me on their stage. Number 8, I am a morning person, and that annoys everybody in my life. I am up with the sun most days. I make sure to stay quiet from my roommates because they're not as active in the mornings as I am. Especially on the weekends when everybody just wants to sleep in. Sleeping in for me is sleeping until 9 a.m. Like, unless I didn't go to bed until 2, I'm getting up between the hours of 6 and 7. I've tried, y'all. I've tried. And knowing me, if I ever marry, I'm going to be married to somebody who's nocturnal. And they're going to be like, why are you up this early? It's like, it's just my nature. Number 9, I started wearing wigs because weaves were too expensive. Listen, I lived in New York City, and it cost a pretty penny to get that hair did. It got to the point where I didn't want to wear relaxer anymore, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just wear weaves. A good weave was like $300. And for the salary and the rent that I was paying, no. I couldn't afford $300, upwards of $400 to $500 every 6 weeks. So one of my coworkers, who was a beautiful black woman, took me to a wig shop in Harlem, and I was hooked. And I was like, oh, I could pay $40 and wear this for like a month as long as I take care of it and not have to mess with my hair. All right, I'm sold. I love wigs. I wear wigs because they protect my hair. I don't have to put heat on my hair. I'm a person who gets bored very easily with the same look. I mean, if you follow me on Instagram and Twitter, you see that every other week I have a different hairstyle, different cut, different color. And I love that. I love playing with different textures, different styles, different lengths. And if I did that to my natural hair, I'd probably be bald. So wigs are a lifesaver. I'll probably be wearing wigs till the end of time. Will I wear my natural hair out? Yeah, because I get incredible reactions when I wear my fro. And I do think I look kind of cute with my fro out. But again, I get really bored with the same look every day. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop on a wig when I need to feel fresh. Oh, number 10, I was an army brat. My father was in the military. I spent most of my life on the East Coast. We had the opportunity to go to Germany. My father went and we stayed behind. I don't remember what the BS reason was. I remember the reason was BS, but I don't know what reason. I don't remember the exact reason. And I really wish that we had gotten to, I really wish I had gotten to have that experience of living abroad. Now the wanderlust, especially with the state of this country, is strong. When I get my passport renewed, which I can't do right now because of the pandemic, I'm traveling. Thanks to Twitter, I have wonderful friends all over this globe, and I want to visit all of them. But going back to it, my father was, like I said, he was in the Army. When I was 18 months old, we lived in Fort Lewis, Washington. We also lived in, I believe that base is closed now, Fort Dix, New Jersey. And we lived off base for a while in Burlington, New Jersey. And then when my father retired, right before I turned 10, we moved to Virginia. 11, this is a 2-4. October is my favorite month, and my favorite day of the week is Thursday. Oh, goodness. Number 12, I have a weakness for brunettes with blue eyes. Y'all know, like, come on now. Who is my husband? Christopher Robert Evans. He has the prettiest blue eyes. I think it began with Joey McIntyre from New Kids on the Block. Yet another Boston boy. What is it? I'm never moving to Boston. I don't care how much Chris begs. I'm not moving to Boston. But I loved Joey McIntyre. I still follow him on Instagram. He was my first celebrity crush. There was a boy in third grade, and he ended up in my fourth grade class. I still remember his name. His name was Robert Cochran, who looked exactly like Joey McIntyre, and he was a brunette with bright blue eyes. Oh my god. And then from there, let's see who else. Henry Cavill, Zac Efron. Like, I was in love with Michael Ealy like a lot of black women. You know, I don't know what it is. My father does not. My father is a fair-skinned Hispanic. Well, he's half white, half Mexican. My grandfather is white, my grandmother is Mexican. And this is my adoptive father. And he has dark hair and dark eyes. So I don't know where the attraction to blue eyes came from. I truly don't. But, you know, it is what it is. 13. I have had my dream wedding planned for the last 10 years. Yeah, I'm one of those girls who there was a point where I wanted to be a wedding planner. When I was really down on myself, thinking I wasn't beautiful enough or worthy enough to be married, I was like, you know what? I'll just be a wedding planner and I'll just live vicariously through my clients. But that got me to thinking about, well, if I was to get married, what would I want? And I don't want like the big poofy princess dress. I know exactly what kind of dress I want. I know that I want it to be, if not a cosplay ceremony, I want people to cosplay at my reception. Whether I marry somebody famous or not, I want costumes. I want either a Addams Family or Avengers theme, because I am a Marvel girl. Dabble in a bit of DC from now and then, but my heart belongs to Marvel. Not just because of Chris. I will get into that later. But you know, I know what kind of cake. I know where. I know who I want there. Maybe that's why it's not happening, because I find that people that don't think about those things tend to get it. Like my sister-in-law, she grew up saying, I never want kids, I never want to get married. She's been married to my brother for 16 years and has 2 children. And I'm over here like, can I get a crumb of a decent relationship, please? just oh goodness, this is really fun. I'm glad I'm doing this. Number 14, I was part of a flash mob proposal. This was one of my favorite memories from New York. One of my dear friends, his name is Patrick, sent everybody he wanted involved a Facebook message, and he was like, hey, I want to do this because this happened and I realized that this man is the only man I ever want in the rest of my life. He is it for me. I want to make the proposal special, so please help me. And we went all out. Like, we had rehearsals. We told each other where to be. We kept each other in line, like, quiet, don't mention anything. Constantly sending messages like, all right, we're going to see him, don't mention anything. And like, it was the most beautiful thing I ever got the chance to be a part of. And that, again, set the bar for me. I'm like, listen, if my man doesn't make his proposal a full Broadway production, I don't want it. He better come correct, is what I'm saying. Oh, goodness. Number 15, I have the ability to remember commercials, jingles, and lines from movies. I still have this ability. I used to drive my mother crazy with it. If we were watching TV, which we did a lot when I was young, in my house, we would be watching TV, and if there was a commercial that I knew word for word, I would sit there without thinking about anybody else around me, and I would just sit there. I even remember commercials from when I grew up. Like, I remember, do y'all remember Elio's Pizza? It was basically like the pizza that you got at school on pizza day, but they sold it to you in like this little box and tried to tell you it was made by an authentic Italian. That one. I remember that commercial. I'll give you a little taste. My brother says it's hip to be square. Well, Elio's pizzas are square. Really? And you break it up and you stick it in this toaster thing and all of the cheese goes blub, blub, blub. I don't know why I remember that. I also remember an Eggo commercial. Good morning. As we speak, my father is downstairs in the kitchen preparing a delicious Eggo waffle. The time has arrived for the Eggo stealth suit. Using state-of-the-art technology, I can move through the house undetected to make sure that warm, crisp Eggo waffle is mine. I don't know why I remember these commercials. Another thing, again, I mentioned I was in drama club in middle school and high school. My first play I was ever in was A Comedy of Errors by William Shakespeare, and I played the role of the Abbess. The Abbess doesn't show up again until... Why I keep being in productions where I only show up in the second act. I'm the surprise. Maybe that's the role I'm supposed to play in people's lives. I'm the surprise, y'all. I'm the spice. I'm here to add the flavor. So I'd be at rehearsals that I didn't do anything the entire rehearsal. So what I would do is I would just sit there and you hear the same lines over and over again. And they're just stuck in my brain. So one day, a girl couldn't be at rehearsal. So I stood in for her, and my director was like, all right, I'll feed you the lines so that the other person can say theirs. And I just walked along like the role was mine. I was like, you've known since Pentecost the sum is due. And then my director's like, how are you doing that? I'm like, what? It's nothing for me. Like, I think one of my boyfriends, you got mad at me because we would watch a movie a couple of times, and then, or even worse, we would go to a movie and certain scenes would just stick in my mind. And if he would try to say the line back, I wouldn't correct him, but I would say the line correctly. And he'd get upset. He's like, I hate that you can do that. I didn't ask for this. Again, another skill that I pray I get to use to my advantage in this life. 16, I am a Buddhist. I chant 10 minutes a day. One of my friends led me to a book. I wish I had it with me. It's called The Buddha in Your Rearview Mirror. I read it, everything resonated with me, and I began my practice. 17, this is a fun one. I saw Prince and Stevie Wonder live for free. Here's how that happened. This was during Prince's musicology tour. Oh, may he rest in peace. My sister-in-law had bought tickets the day they went on sale for my brother for his birthday. And then the night before the concert, I literally forgot that she had bought these. I remember being very jealous when she told me she bought the tickets, but I completely forgot about it because I think the tickets went on sale like maybe January, February. My brother's birthday is in May. I don't know why I forgot that, but I think the concert was in like late May, early June. And I was in the car with my mom, and my phone started ringing. It was my sister-in-law. She was like, hey, Tay. I was like, what's going on? She says, I need a favor from you. I said, okay. She says, remember those tickets I bought for your brother? I was like, yeah. She's like, well, the concert is tomorrow. I am flying out to Miami, because that's where her family is, to get up early in the morning to go get my flight. So can you go to the concert with your brother? And I was like, oh, well, if I have to. It's just Prince. So I went. It was amazing. It was, Prince was performing in the round, so I got to see his face. We were close enough, and the best memory I have from that, I'm actually gonna get emotional. The best memory I have from that show was he closed with Purple Rain, and my brother and I were like, had arms around each other singing. It's like, I love you, Tony. One of the best nights of my life. Stevie Wonder happened in a similar fashion. My best friend at work, Angel, she had bought tickets for her husband, and that something happened to where they couldn't go. So the day of the show, she calls me and she was like, hey, call Houston, who's one of my good friends who lives in New York, who's going to be moving to California soon. Oh, love him. We about to turn LA on its ear. Anyway, she was like, call Houston and see if y'all can make use of these tickets. We went, this was during Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life tour. So basically the whole show was him performing songs from the Key of Life and the celebration of, I think, the 20th anniversary of that album. 20th or 30th anniversary, I can't remember. And it was such an amazing show. India Arie was there with him, and I actually got to see India Arie in concert in New York before I moved, but I had to pay for her. But that was such a, to see these icons on stage. I am so grateful that I got that opportunity. Number 18. I had half of my thyroid removed when I was 14. If you've seen me, let me see if I can get close to the camera. You see my scar here. I was actually supposed to be 6'4" by the time I was 18. I'm 5'9". Gods. So I had a very hyperactive thyroid, and it caused a goiter, which is a non-cancerous growth on your thyroid gland. And they went in and removed it. I remember the name of my doctor. He was 30 years old. He had to be. Yeah, no, he told me, I remember asking him, he said he was 31 at the time. His name was Dr. Bamberger, and at the time, he was the most beautiful man I'd ever seen. And I was like, he's gonna cut me open? Okay. They anticipated that I would be in the hospital for a week. I walked out the next day. I don't know, maybe I'm Wolverine and have a hidden healing factor, but I walked out the next day, and it really hasn't, my thyroid, you can live with half of your thyroid gland, and it can perform, like the side that's left will compensate for the side that's gone. So every endocrinologist that I've seen has said that my thyroid levels are normal. So any weight gain that I've experienced since then has basically been from me eating too many calories and not moving enough. So I cannot blame only having my thyroid. That was my first major surgery I ever had, and I really wasn't scared until they were wheeling me back into the operating room. But I remember them putting the mask on me and saying count back from 10. I think I got to 7. It was like 10, 9, 8, 7. I don't remember anything after I said 7. I remember waking up and the youth pastor from my church was there telling me that he had to go, but that he loved me and he was praying for me. Number 19. I am friends with 3 of my exes. I live with one, but we don't count Anthony Wan because that was a special situation. Anybody after him, yeah. I'm friends with my dear friend Daniel, whose wedding I'm actually going to be in. Hopefully the pandemic doesn't screw up his plans for next year, and he and his beautiful girlfriend, his beautiful fiance, are able to marry, because I'm actually in this a part of the ceremony. I'm still close with him and his family. I love them so very much, and I'm thankful every day that he and I are still close. We've actually been leaning on each other quite a bit through this pandemic. My friend Adam, yet another Boston boy, an Italian Boston boy. Oh God, the Chris parallels are too much. He and I still talk regularly. I actually talked to his girlfriend, and now she understands that I am not a threat. So when this is all over and I go to Massachusetts to visit them, everything's gonna be cool, and I can't wait. I actually think that might be my first trip back east. And then there's my ex David, who I dated after AJ, back in high school, and he came back into my life because my last boyfriend was his best friend, and he knows what happened, and he's totally on my side, and I never asked him to choose sides. He's still friends with my ex, and I don't ask him for updates on him. I hope that my ex doesn't ask for updates on me, and if he does, I hope David's like, nah dude, I'm not doing that. I feel like David's that type of dude who'd be like, nope, I'm not doing that for you. He's been very good to me. He's actually helped me a lot through this too, so I'm thankful because I keeps the good ones around. There are a few other exes who I'm like, y'all can fuck off. This is number 20. I recently decided to be 100% honest about what I want for myself. To be completely honest, to be completely frank, to keep it 100, I used to be very ashamed of what I wanted for my life. I used to be ashamed of wanting to be famous. I used to be ashamed of wanting to be a performer. I used to be ashamed of wanting to grow on YouTube because, you know, I'm like, oh, you're only doing this for clicks, you're only doing this for views, you only care about this. I have something to say, which is why I have a YouTube channel. I want to grow so that I can reach as many people as possible. And I mean, I would like to be an influencer and actually influence people to change their lives for the better. Not be like, oh, we can go to parties and not wear masks because we don't care. Moving on. I used to be ashamed of wanting to be financially stable. Because, you know, I, like a lot of people, grew up thinking that having money meant that you were an evil person or you procured your wealth through evil means. There are plenty of good people who are out here who have money and use their money to not only bless themselves and their families, but to bless others. And I want that. There are so many people, some of you who are watching, there are so many people who have helped me when I've been in my darkest places. There are so many people who have done incredible things for me. I want to be able to bless them. It's one of the things that I remember from going to church. One of the very few things that stuck with me. Ask to be blessed so that you can bless others. That's what I want. I want to be able to not have to worry about money and be able to help those who do. That's Tay. Being a performer is who I am. There's nothing wrong with me wanting to be on a stage. Yes, I'm 38 years old. But as people continually tell me, when I actually wrote out and tweeted out where I said, no, I still dream about being an actress. I still dream about performing in Madison Square Garden in front of 75,000 people. I still want to sing Come Back to Bed as a duet with John Mayer on somebody's stage. And when I say these things, people are like, hey, Samuel L. Jackson didn't get his first role till 40. So the time has never passed. And I'm here for it. And you better believe once outside is safe, I'm to pursue that again. I'm being 100% authentic. I'm being 100% clear about what I want, why I want it, and what I'm going to do when I get it. 21. I started cosplaying because of John Barrowman. Back in the day, when it was easy to get tickets to Comic-Con. The first Comic-Con I ever went to, we bought tickets at the door. The second one, there were tickets available up until the day before. Now you have to wait in a queue. Like, I know that's been the case for San Diego Comic-Con, but New York Comic-Con, when I first moved to New York, it was so much simpler to get into that. We got Sunday tickets to New York Comic-Con, and we found out that John Barrowman was on the guest list. He was going to be there. And if you don't know who John Barrowman is, he played Captain Jack Harkness on Doctor Who and Torchwood. AJ, as you all know, is a huge Doctor Who fan. I'm a Whovian, but not to the extent of AJ. But I love me some John Barrowman. And I was like, you know what? If we're in costume, we might be more inclined to catch his eye, so let's start cosplaying. Well, I didn't know it was called cosplay at the time. But I was like, I want to be Poison Ivy. So I went on Amazon and pulled together a costume out of a corset, some leggings. I found some vines. I found a wonderful red wig. I loved it. I loved being in costume. I miss cosplay so much. And when it's safe, I'm going back into it. Because cosplay is life. 22. It was a photo of Deadpool that made me realize I was a geek. What started happening was, in 2013, I went to see Man of Steel with AJ. Because AJ is also a huge Superman fan. And this was before I knew who Henry Cavill was, so I literally only went to see Superman because of my love of Anthony Wan. And then I started realizing how hot Henry Cavill was, but that's a whole nother story. Y'all already saw that video of how I almost met him. But I remember talking to people about that movie. People either love that movie with their whole heart, or there is no worse movie that has ever been made than Man of Steel. There's very, very little in between. Very, very slight gray area there. And I loved the movie when I saw it. I defend it. And I realized that I got a hit of dopamine whenever I defended that movie. And I started diving more into it, into the history, and I started reading comics. But I never wanted to admit that I was a geek, because growing up, there was a horrible connotation to being called a geek or a nerd. And then I'm scrolling, I started following, after diving into comics, Deadpool became my fave, and he became my comic book boyfriend. There is no comic book character, except for maybe Storm, but there is no other comic book character that I love more than Deadpool. And yes, Ryan Reynolds made me so happy with both of his movies. I'm I used to have a joke with saying, like, if I met Ryan Reynolds, if he and Blake Lively had an open relationship, I would only sleep with Ryan Reynolds if he was dressed as Deadpool. I mean, he wouldn't have to do like the makeup, but if he wore the suit and had, yeah. Whoo, Deadpool could get all this work. Anyway, we're getting off track. But I followed a page run by a Deadpool fan, and this person would respond to people as Deadpool. Like, he posted a picture of him, of Deadpool and Domino, and I was like, she is so lucky. And he wrote me back, he's like, I keep trying to tell her that, but you know. So there was this picture of if Deadpool cosplayed Tony Stark, and it was Deadpool in this 3-piece suit, and I was like getting flustered, and I was like, this is a drawing on a piece of I'm a geek. This is who you are, Tay Delval. You are a geek, and it's time you embrace it. And I haven't looked back since. 23. I love fighting games. I do not consider myself a gamer. I do not own a gaming console at all. But as I've said on my live streams, I love watching AJ play his video games. Like, we're knee deep into a Paper Mario, and I love watching him play that. I love watching him play anything, really. And we have Mario Party at least a few times a week up in this house. But my bread and butter is fighting games. Like, if my friends have consoles and I'm like, hey, who's got that Mortal Kombat? I'm ready, let's go. Oh, 24. I am the absolute opposite of my mother. Everything that my mother was, I am not, and everything my mother was not, I am. My mother was never into fashion. My mother never wore makeup. My mother was such a traditionalist. I told her that the most I would do if I got married is hyphenate my name, because I love my name, Tay Delval. Do you know how many times I've been told that's a Hollywood name? People ask me if that's my real name, if that's like a stage name. I'm like, no, that's my real name, and I will keep it until the day I die. If I marry someone, they're getting Tay Delval hyphen whatever that last name. I'm not taking their last name. If they want to take mine, that's cool too. But I will not just out and out take my husband's last name. I told my mom that, and you would have thought that I had committed some sort of mortal sin. You would have thought that I had punched her in her chest. She was like, how dare you? I told my mom, like, I didn't want to have a joint account with my husband. I'm like, we can have a joint account for like the house and the kids and, you know, joint goals that we have and joint responsibilities, but I want a separate account. My mom was the type who was like, no, if everything is not together, if you are not one, your marriage is going to fall apart, because there's no more individuality after you say I do. It's you are now one. And I'm just like, she was old fashioned. Like, and number 25, I have gotten in trouble for singing at work at nearly every job that I've had, except for this one. Because I think I finally learned my lesson. There has been many a day where a manager or a fellow coworker has come over and been like, you have a beautiful voice, but we need you to stop singing. You're distracting everyone. Maybe that's a sign. I can vividly remember at one job that I was in Virginia, I discovered Yahoo Music, where they played music video. You could play the music videos for your favorite songs, and I was singing Sex and Candy from Marcy Playground. I'm just like, hang around downtown by myself, and I had too much caffeine, and I was thinking to myself, and there she was. What? Hi, how you doing? And she was like, you have a beautiful voice, we love you, we're so happy you're here, we need you to turn it down, and we need you to stop singing. She was so cute about it, and I was like, so I wasn't angry. I was like, oops. Then at my job in New York, I had one of my earbuds in, and I was just like, I think I was singing, I think I was probably singing My Love, like, ain't another woman that can take your spot, oh, sorry. And we had open seating, so I had one person sitting here and another person sitting here. I don't know why I thought that they wouldn't be able to hear me, even if I sang softly. So that stopped. But yeah, those are 25 random facts about me. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All of those good things. I know there are a million videos you could have watched today. I humbly thank you for coming to Slay. See you next time.